Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about my favorite wallets, so the best wallets to use Bitcoin. I've been in the space almost 9 years now, and I've used a variety of different wallets that are much easier and much harder to use. Today I'm going to hop into which ones are my favorites. And before we begin, I want to give a shout out to Ledn. Ledn is one of my sponsors. They're the best place to lend or borrow against your Bitcoin. So if you lend out your Bitcoin, you can earn a yield. If you borrow against it, you can, delay having to sell your Bitcoin and incur capital gains. They all come with risks, so make sure you read a lot, do your own due diligence on that. I personally use them. Definitely think it's a great product. Okay, let's hop back into the main topic, my favorite Bitcoin wallets. So what I'm going to do here is walk everyone through what my favorite wallets are. And it's kind of funny because when I first started, my first wallet was Bitcoin QT, or the Bitcoin Core wallet. That's the default wallet provided by Bitcoin developers. It's very functional, but it's a very harsh user experience, and the design hasn't changed much in a long time. And so that was my first wallet, which actually by default is a Bitcoin, or I think by default is a Bitcoin full node. So when I first got it, I'd be like, why does it take so long to sync up with the network? This is taking a super long time. And it's because my first wallet also had a full node built into it. It's actually still very, very functional. I definitely recommend it if you're a little bit more technical. But the wallets I'm about to cover are a little bit easier to use. My next wallet was a blockchain.info wallet. So this was called a web wallet back in the day. Not many people remember that. So web wallet meant that instead of storing the encrypted private key on your local computer, so like on your hard drive where it could be lost, like the guy who lost $90 million or $100 million of the Bitcoin and has been searching through garbage dumps for that hard drive. Instead of that, they stored it for you. So how it worked was they had the private key created in the browser, so client side in the browser. So it was created on your local computer and then saved encrypted up on the cloud, which meant that you could access the wallet anywhere you went. You didn't have to worry about storing it properly. And you didn't have to trust blockchain.info. You said to have some measure of trust that there wouldn't be malicious code, because they could insert malicious code in the client side and the browser code, but all the code is open source, so people could go check it out and make sure that it was running properly. And they've been around a super long time, about 10 years or so. I was also the first product manager at the company. They were one of the hottest companies back in the 2013, 2014 era. And then just lack of execution, later down the road, just kind of led to them not being as well known. But that was a really popular wallet back in the day, first web wallet. And then there was a breakthrough where you could, you could essentially have an easier to store backup, and a backup that was a little bit more portable between different providers. Now, there's still a little bit of lack of portability between some providers. For example, your backup may not work on another company's wallet, but most of the main ones have good compatibility. And that was called BIP39. So BIP39 essentially, turned, this is the modern recovery phrase process now, where you have the 12 to 24 word backup. That is called BIP30. BIP39 was the essentially improvement that was done to the Bitcoin protocol to allow this sort of easier to understand export. So that was a pretty big user experience update, because you could just memorize the 12 to 24 words. You could write them down on paper. You could store them on metal. You could much more portable between different providers. I think that was a huge upgrade and improvement. Wallets today are so much easier than they used to be back in the day. And so let's go ahead and dive into what are my personal favorites based on a bunch of different factors. So on the desktop wallet side, I would say Wasabi is probably the best desktop wallet out there. It's got a super easy to understand interface. Not super easy to understand, but decently easy to understand. But it's got privacy built in. So Tor integration, coin control, connecting to your own node if you'd like to, which you should, and then coin joins. So coin joins, essentially what it does is it takes your Bitcoin and it mixes in with other Bitcoin and makes it more private. And what's cool about that is that with CoinJoin implementations, some are like a little bit more complex to understand. And I think they do a good job here of showing you like how mixed or how private your coins are. I think that that's really good for those who care about privacy. This makes the different outputs you have, marks them with how private they are, in a very easy to understand interface. So I personally really like that. if you're on desktop, it's a great way to have that privacy baked in, coin control baked in, and other advanced features. So I think that's super, super cool. You can also do stuff like sign a transaction. I believe you can do stuff like sign a transaction offline and then export that and then bring it to a computer that's online and transmit it. So got a lot of really cool advanced features, but sleek interface. It's got privacy built in, so that's why I think it's really cool. Hi everyone, I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Choice. Choice is a Bitcoin IRA made for hodlers. While being a long-term hodler minimizes what we owe in taxes, it doesn't completely eliminate them. I've been looking for a way to stack sats without having to pay taxes, and I finally found a solution with Choice. This is something I've been putting off for a long time, and now I'm finally doing it. Choice is a retirement account that for Bitcoiners that enables you to trade Bitcoin or stocks if you like, buy and hold Bitcoin or buy and hold another type of stock or anything else without having to pay a dime to the government, which is really, really cool. And they do that because it's a special type of retirement account. And they just released an iOS app that makes it super easy to sign up and get started. The best time to stack your sats was 11 years ago, but the next best time is now. And you can stack tax-free. If you search Stack Sats in the App Store, you can find their product. So it's Choice in the App Store, but if you search Stack Sats, you can find that. Or go to choiceapp.io/held. And if you go to that URL, you can go sign up. The link will also be included below. And I would be remiss not to tell you that they also let you hold your own private keys. Like, that's pretty cool. So I think that's super, super cool because as a Bitcoiner, you want to have self-custody and hold your own Bitcoin. And with them, they allow for that. Okay, now back to the video. On mobile, Blue Wallet is my favorite product. So Blue Wallet is awesome. It's just super simple, clean. I've had a ton of mobile wallets. I mean, at least over a dozen I've tried out. And Blue Wallet's really, really nice. It's just super simple. It's got really cool stuff like you can do multi-sig with it. I use it, a lot for Lightning because Lightning's really, really awesome in terms of, being able to, spend Bitcoin in a much cheaper, faster way. I hodl 99% of the time, but when I'm at a conference or something, if someone has a little product or good, then it's kind of fun to use it. So with this, it's really, really easy to use. I highly recommend it if you're on mobile. You also can have multiple wallets, which is cool. So it kind of creates some segmentation, but like if you don't want to use one Bitcoin wallet for everything for privacy reasons, you can create different wallets, within one app, which is cool. And also if you're more security conscious, you can create a multi-sig vault. And they have really good fee estimation tools. A lot of wallets don't do this very well. I think that they do it really great and really, really well. And then with Lightning, you can either do custodial or non-custodial. Custodial means, they help configure it, which makes it a little bit easier for the everyday person to use. And so I think it's really, really sweet. And the plausible deniability part is really cool. So it's got a secret baked in functionality of, you can plausibly say like these, you can create sort of a hidden wallet within a wallet, which is super cool. Cold storage wise, this is the best long-term way to store your coins. What that means, cold storage, means that it's not connected to the internet. So what they are, they're these little hardware devices. And the two most popular ones are Trezor and Ledger. And so what you do is the private key is generated on the device. And when you plug it into a computer, the computer gives it an instruction of, hey, can you sign this transaction? And it signs it and sends the signed transaction back. So it's basically like cold storage means it's not connected to anything that's online. Some of the features with these wallets like Trezor and Ledger are a little bit more limited, like coin joins, coin control, and connecting to a full node. So there is some trade-off with that. The more advanced folks can hook it up to an Electrum server and other methods to get that access, but it's pretty technical. It's not the easiest to do. And so, those look like this, by the way. So here's Trezor's website. So Trezor's website, they have a little screen like this, which shows you like the address and you're approving signing to a certain, signing a certain transaction to a certain address. So this is what those look like. And then finally, when you use cold storage or use these other solutions and you've got your Bitcoin backup, that's the 12 to 24 word backup. And what you need to do is store that on something that's nearly indestructible, fireproof, waterproof, crush-proof. A lot of Bitcoiners I know kept it on paper and the paper was accidentally thrown away by a partner or the maid or something like that. So When you put it on metal, it makes it much more permanent. So even if folks accidentally stumble upon it, they won't likely throw it away. Also, it's, if your house burns down, this might survive. Might survive. It depends on what the temperature of the fire is. A company that I really like to use, and full disclosure, I'm one of the, they're one of my sponsors, is CryptoTag. So CryptoTag is a titanium backup, and I think that's really cool because titanium has the highest melting point out of any other practical metal. Tungsten technically has a higher one, but I don't think it's as malleable or usable for this sort of use case. So it's really cool because you stamp in, so you have this metal etcher, and you stamp in on this metal device your 12 to 24 word backup, and that's going to survive almost anything. I mean, you could go bury it in the backyard if you wanted to. It's going to last for forever. And they've got really cool stuff. Like here's their testing video of like, they literally put it in fire. Like they actually, they actually like turn it red hot. So yeah, like, if you want to store your Bitcoin backup, you want to store it on metal because that's the place to put it on. They've also got other things too, where they do kind of like pressure testing. So they push it, like let's say a building collapses, would it survive that? Well, it can survive extreme crushing pressures. It's also bulletproof for some lighter arms. But anyways, this is a really great way to store your backup. Definitely recommend that you store it on metal. If you store it on metal, store it with a CryptoTag because it's made out of titanium. In conclusion, to store your Bitcoin is probably one of the most critical decisions you're going to have to make when getting into Bitcoin. And so you're going to want to make sure that you're comfortable with the solution before you put a ton of money on it. So make sure that you're testing it yourself, that you go practice using it, you practice losing your password and see if the recovery works. And then also never, ever, ever send a Bitcoin transaction when you're intoxicated. Don't come home and want to move around your cold storage after a couple beers. Just wait till the morning and touch it then, because there's no forgiveness here when you interact directly with the protocol. Hope you enjoyed this brief on Bitcoin wallets. Apologies for keeping it short, and not too in depth, like for example, opening up the interface and going through it. But I wanted to give a very high level of which wallets on desktop, mobile, and cold storage that I thought were the best in the space. Cheers. Bye.